Today we're going to be talking about the new fine feather. This is wonderful and that has a lot of detail. And this is what kind of drove me to start making stamps, is that I wanted something more natural with more detail. And this has it. And it requires more than the old classic 1 pound hammer on a bench block on any table surface. You need, the recipe for success is a solid non-bouncing surface. I like 2 blocks. I got this on a butcher block table with probably a 3x3 leg here, solid. And so we've got that. We've got a 2.5 pound hammer, holding it like a hammer. Don't choke up. You want to actually use that 2.5 pounds. We've got a plastic hammer in this case for back hammering and for moving the impression. I've got a piece of folded paper here just for, like right now, I'm going to flatten the edges of this metal that I just cut. And I'm using, in this case, 26 gauge dead soft copper, and you could use annealed, but that's what is easy. And then the other part that helps is this underlayment. This is Presto printing plate foam, and what it does is it helps drive up the detail. You place it between your block and the metal, and it helps drive up the detail into the stamp. I learned about this from, was it Tracy, who started Rolling Mill Resources? She used to recommend this for some of her patterns, in that you put it, between the metal and the pattern, and it helped push the detail. And I thought, I wonder if that would work with stamps, and it does. So before this, I used paper as well, and that was kind of my go-to. But I've learned to really, really like this. It's different than craft foam, by the way. Craft foam is gummier. It's not the same. This is crisper. So, all right. So what you would do is you would put it between. You take your hammer. I'm going to use. So in this case, this stamp has a natural kind of. Let's get some shine going here. There we go. A natural outcrop. Like in this case, I might set this part first. A stamp like a round stamp would be harder. And in this, by the way, in this case, we want a 2.5 pound hammer. If I were feeling more weak, I might grab my 4 pound. And a stamp like this wouldn't need as much force, a smaller one. This is 1/4 inch. This, by the way, is 1/4 inch by 1/2 inch. And because of the detail, you need a little more. And because of the surface area, you need a little more driving force. This wouldn't take as much. It's got, that'd be more on the line of a larger font. Something like this, a round one. This is a 1/2 inch round, which is a pretty hefty size stamp, but there's a lot of open area there. And that one actually, this is an example where the printing plate foam would kind of puff it out. It's kind of cool. But this one actually is not so bad. You would want to still use a larger hammer with something this big. Anyways, back to this. So the larger hammer and the printing plate foam. So let's give that a shot and think about what else I need to talk about while I do it. Oh yeah, when I do this, I'm going to imperceptibly, do the, what's the term nowadays? Tilt and tap. Not exaggerated, just slightly. That's all you need. All you need is the height of the stamp itself. And you don't want, if I just did exaggerated north, south, east, and west and didn't do the middle, it wouldn't be impressing the middle. And you don't need to do that, and it can be hard on the edges of stamps. So I'm going to hold it down with force, and I am going to put it over the center of that leg. I'm going to take this, and I'm going to give it a really good whack, and then we'll go on from there. After I give it a little whack, by the way, I'm going to maybe give it a second whack, and then I actually will just kind of move the stamp, I'm exaggerating here, a little bit just to make sure it's locked in, to make sure I'm not mirroring. But, all right, ready? It's set, we're good, I'm moving it, it is set, and actually it's kind of grabbed hold, which is what you want. So you can see, I knew right away normally I would hit that more right away, but you can take a look, because this is thinner metal, you can take a look that this bottom part is pretty good, but the top part of the feather needs a little more. So I was hitting it this way. What I do is, because I know that I tend to hit it like not evenly. We're in a situation where normally you would use a hammer, blacksmith would use a hammer like here, but you can't see it down there. So we bring it up where we can see it, kind of in a compromise situation. So I'm gonna focus on that top part. Still try to keep the hammer square. That looks pretty good. I'm going to do a little bit more right over here. This goes faster when I'm not talking about it. But, oh yeah, by the way, with a thinner metal like this, the printing plate foam kind of mimics thicker metal. It allows the metal to move. If I were to use 20 gauge, it would take a little more force, but there's more metal to move. So you may not need this. At some point, this isn't going to make a difference. But yeah, so here we go. Let's take a look. That looks pretty darn good. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take on my piece of paper right here. I don't know if you can see this. Let me move it up. Usually I just leave it down here. I'm going to use, I use the paper so I'm not damaging anything. I'm going to go around, tap the outside edge, around the outside edge, and that releases the sharp stamp. That's the easiest way to do it, and I recommend that. And let's take a peek. Ah, nice, nice. And with a patina, that will show a little bit more, and I will show you that in a minute. So now what you want to do, though, is you also would want to, so what's kind of cool about this, if I needed to reset it again, because it has a little bit of, form and shape, I'm not flattening it yet, it would be pretty easy to reset that if I needed to. It would click right in there because I've got that, that bow. It would be easier to reset. So, well, in this case, what I would do is I would give a little backhammer to kind of somewhat flatten it out. I'm not driving the detail back out again. I'm just kind of flattening it so it's not bowed. All right, that looks good. Let's do another one real quick without me jammering on. Oh, looks sweet. I'll give these a patina and come right back and show this at the end here. Looks really good. A patina will show the detail a little bit more. And by patina, an easy way to do it is just use a Sharpie. I tend to like the Milwaukee. I also have a chisel point Sharpie, which makes it a little quicker. And I will just put some patina on that, and then use 3M bristle brushes. I don't have a Fordham here, but I use them on a 3-inch one to remove some of that, and then a polishing pad to polish over it. So I'll do that, and I'll come right back and show you the results. Now I'm going to try it with 20 gauge. I've got some 20 gauge here, which it doesn't actually feel very soft, honestly. So let's give that a shot. There's more metal to push, and there's more metal to push. I'm going to use this printing plate foam. I got a fresh piece because this is getting spent. I could use that for smaller stamps, but make sure I'm over the block. I'm going to place this in such a way. I'm gonna really whack the heck out of this, snot out of this, to make sure it's set, focusing on that bottom part of it. I'm gonna have to really use it as a hammer, and I'm setting the bottom part. If it doesn't stick, you're not hitting hard enough, and you're probably going to mirror. I'm gonna leave it kind of where it is right now and hit the other side. All right, that worked. You can see that it's probably barely stuck on there. You don't see as much detail as you do on the thinner metal on the bottom, and I know right now that I haven't. I need to drive more detail there. All right, I'm gonna hit the other side of it, holding it, making sure it's not gonna move, hitting it like a hammer. Drive, drive, drive. That looks better. Let me hit this side. Oopsie. All right. Sometimes what I do, by the way, is I'll kind of drive across. Careful when you do this, because you don't want to really slip. So always, wear safety glasses and take care of your hands. I'm going to kind of hit the opposite side of it and do the same here. And then work my way through the middle. And I think that's probably going to be good. Let's take a peek at that. Let's use the hammer. It's probably going to stick a little more than the thinner metal. There we go. popped off. That actually looks pretty darn good. I like it. Take a peek at that. It's hard to see. I know. But that looks good. We also got good detail on that. I probably could have hit the lower part here a little bit more. But I could reset it and do that again, but I'm happy with that. And of course, as I say that, I'm gonna, before I flatten it, see how with that bow of this, it just is so easy to reset again. All right, I'm gonna actually try to drive that one lower part. There we go. Actually, there we go. Okay, pop it off. Okay. Yeah, that's a little better. Nice. All right. I will also flatten this and give this a patina real quick. So on the left is the 20 gauge, and on the right is the 26 gauge, which was definitely dead soft. The left one may not have been. I recommend you practice on copper at first, and then silver. But I see I could have removed a little more patina on the 20 gauge there. Notice on the right end of the 20 gauge how it bowed out a little bit. There's more metal to move there. It's going to take more effort to push it, and that the underlayment kind of mimicked that there, and it made it a little bit easier. And I still use underlayment just because it sets it, still drives up more detail, in my opinion. And maybe it's after 20 gauge, it's probably not as necessary. But there it is. I think they look good, don't you? All right, I hope that helped. Thanks.